Designing guns for California. How do you get guns on the California approved list? Also binary triggers and much, much more with Brandon Dunham from Franklin Armory. Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Timney Triggers, the world's finest triggers, Silencer Central, silence delivered, Hodgdon, the gunpowder people, Armscor, and ATN, the future of optics. Welcome into Gun Talk Nation. Today on Gun Talk Nation, we're going to talk a lot about weird stuff because Franklin Armory, Brandon, you know, I always think of you guys as like the thinking outside the box group of people over there. So Brandon Dunham, Franklin Armory, welcome in.
How's it going, man? Nice to see you again.
Great to see you. Great. I'm glad you're here in town for doing some podcasts, doing some filming. So that's kind of Franklin Armory to me. I'm always interested to see what you guys are doing. And if people aren't familiar, I mean, tell them a little bit of background about you guys.
So Franklin Armory, we kind of started off in California selling firearms in the California market. Obviously, that's kind of a hard and a tall order to fill, but we were successful with it. And then we just kept developing, right? So our company is basically predicated off of innovation. We're not like necessarily your everyday kind of commodity item.
Mm-hmm.
We are exactly what you said. We're outside the box.
Yeah.
We think outside the box, and we also are well known for not only our binary triggers, right? But we're also known for finding little spaces and filling those niches. So what we do is we find these boxes and we fill them with a product.
Yeah. And so when you guys were doing stuff for California, that was developing products that were legal in California? Is that kind of how it started?
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty
I
much.
think that, and we see that, and those who are not in California may not pay attention to this stuff, but necessity is the mother of invention or something like that, where you go, oh, we're being forced to redesign, re-engineer an AR or a pistol or certain functions of, because California has restrictive gun laws.
Oh, 100%.
So you had things like the bullet button was developed, and you go, okay, it has to require a tool. Well, we're going to say the tool is a cartridge, right? So
it works, right?
And it's funny because, and I think you guys do a good job at this, is the regulators give you the parameters, and you go, okay, well,
here we are.
So you're saying, as long as we're within these rules, we're good, right? And they're like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Probably now they're like, damn it, Franklin Armory, what are you guys going to do?
Well, that's the thing, right? They make laws, and we follow that law exactly to the letter.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of truly shines about Franklin Armory is, like, for instance, we have the CA series of AR pistols, and now we have not just one, the CA7 AR pistol on the California roster, but we have three now. We have the CA7, which is a 7-inch AR. It's awesome. I mean, it's not every day that you can get a AR pistol that's actually on the California roster.
Right.
But now we have three of them, right? We have the CA7, we have the CA11, which is an 11-inch 300 blackout.
Okay.
And the CA12, which is a 350 Legend. So for
Oh,
those
wow.
hunters, yeah.
That's awesome. So explain the California roster, if people not familiar with it.
So it's a California safe handgun list. I don't know exactly what it's called because I'm not a Californian, right? So it's fun from a marketing perspective to describe what these things are and how they fit in those legal parameters, right? And that's what we do. But there's a list for California to where there's a safe handgun, what they deem is safe, and it has to go through drop testing and a certain criteria to be placed on this roster. Now, a lot of pistols are on there, some are not. I mean, some of them just don't pass the regulations, right? It just so happens that our three AR pistols, the CA series, do. And we went through extensive testing to get them on that list.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is a gun company, for you guys to understand listening, a gun company can't just have a new gun and then ship it to a dealer in California. You guys should sell it. It's an awesome gun.
Don't worry.
That's not how it works.
No.
You have to go through a whole process of time and money to get the ominous dominus blessing of the California, I guess, DOJ, to say this gun is approved for California. And there are companies, big companies, who have basically said, nah, we're good. We're not going to go through this process of, and because, that's a good point, a risk, because it may be you just get declined.
Good. Yeah, it's always a risk with anything. I mean, it could be, you could invent the cure for cancer and someone could be like, well, I don't know about that, but
right,
that's a stretch.
I mean, it's not given that, well, just go through the process and your gun will be on the approved list. That's not a given.
Well, yeah, you got to think about the market, the viability of your product. You got to think about a lot of things, legalities, of course. And yeah, I mean, we're successful with these CA series. And not only just that, we had the DFM, the dropped in fixed mag, speaking of bullet button stuff. Yeah. We have that. Yeah, we fit the confines of those laws. They build a box, we put something in it. That's what we do.
All right. So you're saying we can do this, right? I love that. I mean, you guys have to be very creative. And some people will say, and I'm not trying to make this all about California, but I just think it's interesting because it's this little microcosm of the gun world. Some people will say, screw them, screw California. The government over there is stupid. The laws are stupid. Why bother? But it's a really big market for guns, and there are a lot of gun enthusiasts there, right?
Oh, 100%. And there's gun owners everywhere across the nation, right? California has to have a lot of that, right? There's a big population base. So there's perfectly fine gun owners, legal gun owning Americans in California. So we cater to them. That's where we started. Got to pay homage to our original base, I guess you could say.
And you're not far from there. You guys are based in Reno.
Carson, Minden, Nevada. So it's a little bit south. Area. Yeah.
Okay.
About an hour south of
Reno. Okay.
Yeah.
So as you guys, what would you say are some of the more creative or, weird, different type of solutions that you guys have come up with?
Yeah, we get a little weird sometimes, and the memes are quite hilarious that we see out there.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
In the gun world?
Yeah. And we're known for Reformation, our California compliant models as well, like we were just talking about. We have the Providence, which is still in development. Sorry, that takes a long time.
And hey, look, I'll call you out. Sometimes you introduce things and you tell people about it, but then it's like, this is a thing we've done. It works, but it's not available yet.
No, we're going to refine it. I mean, if you're building a brand new platform from the ground up, new action, new everything, right? It takes time. And we introduced a prototype as a concept back at SHOT Show. What was that, 2018, 19? Anyways, we introduced that and we said, hopefully this thing will be out, within a year or so. And I think that was kind of like lost in the sauce, those finer details. And it was like, this is a prototype, guys. I mean, it's still in development, but yeah, it's one of those innovative products. And that's what we do. We think outside the box.
It's a funny thing because some people would say, well, don't talk about it until it's ready to sell. But then some of us go, well, this is kind of a cool peek behind the curtain. Like, I understand it's not ready yet, but you guys don't seem to mind going, hey, it's something that's we're in the works on. It's not perfected yet. It's not ready for prime time, but we wanted to show it to you. And probably it's helpful for feedback and also maybe gauging interest.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing to bring up too, is like we actually listen to our customers and our the people that are the gun enthusiasts, right? If we're going to produce something, well, we want your feedback, right? I mean, we're going to produce what you want, what you need. If it fills a void or it fills a box that we need to check, then yeah, we're going to listen to your feedback and get your input into how to make it better. It's only going to make us better.
So you mentioned Reformation. Am I saying that right? Reformation. I remember when it came out, there was a lot of hype about it beforehand, and then a lot of just people going nuts over it because it's so different. Tell people what this is and what the solution you came up with here.
So we're all familiar with SBRs, right?
Yep.
Short barrel rifles.
Short barrel rifles the barrel has to be over 16 inches. If it's magically, 15 and a half inches, it's special.
Yeah. And now it's tax stamp.
You need a tax stamp, $200, apply to the ATF, just like a silencer. But they're you guys have said maybe there's a different way to approach this.
Yeah, and it's all in definitions, right? And it's following that letter of the law to the T. And it's a very specific part of that language is the term rifling. And it defines rifling, right, as a spiral stabilization of the bullet, right? And with Reformation, what we came up with was straight lands and grooves. And now...
So they don't spiral the bullet. They don't spin through the barrel.
Yes. And so it's not rifled. It's straight, which would also not be a smooth bore. So if you want to get really technical, it's a GCA, Gun Control Act, SBS, short barrel shotgun.
Okay.
Which there's no stamp involved with that or anything like that, but that's where we lie. That's what it is. Now, Reformation, love it or hate it, it was designed to be a close-in CQB platform.
Okay.
And it's not designed to reach out there. And I don't know of anybody who could reach out to, 700 yards with their 7-inch AR pistol, but
right.
That's not what they're designed for. They're designed for being short maneuverable, a truck gun, a breaching platform. It's supposed to be close in. And that's what we designed Reformation to be, because you don't need a tax stamp on it.
So it's AR style.
Mm-hmm.
It's 7-inch barrel.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 223 5.56
and 300 blackout
and 300.
Yeah, we make both.
Now, I recall the projectile itself was different. Are you guys still doing that?
That was a concept idea as well. We do introduce concepts and like, hey, what if we do like a fin stabilized Sabo kind of round?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, we could viably do that. Is it going to take a lot of time and development to do it? Is there going to be a ammunition manufacturer that might pick this up? Sure. We just have to check viability.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to put that directly into the consumer market, well, guess what? It works with standard 5.56 and 300 blackout. It even works with suppressors.
So the bullet's not spinning when it comes out.
Nope.
So it's not stabilized.
No, it is not.
So what is the accuracy expectation with this type of thing? You said it's more of a CQB.
It is. And, we're getting, I believe is, I'd have to check to see what our accuracy was. But anyway, it's not going to be as accurate as a truly rifled firearm, right? It'll easily reach out and, touch steel at 100 yards. I've done it.
Okay.
With both a 5.56 and a 300 blackout.
Okay.
Shit. We did it at SHOT Show.
Yeah.
Live fire with people testing this with standard ammunition, and they're doing it all day. So accuracy, is it going to be a tack driver? No, and that's a consequence of the straight lands and grooves, right?
Right.
Is it designed to reach out that far? No, it's not.
So, I guess, do you have an idea, because you've shot it at like 30 feet, what would be the expectation for somebody? If somebody says, well, am I going to miss? Or is it going to be like what size? If you put it on a bench at 30 feet, what would be kind of the expectation?
You're probably going to go through, you're going to be probably punching the same hole multiple times at 30 feet. Absolutely, you will be.
So it's not all over the place.
No, it's not like you're getting a grouping this big. At 100 yards, you're probably getting a grouping.
Yeah, 5-6 inches, something like that.
Yeah, depending on wind and if it's benched. It's
That's also an interesting thing, is just me as a gun nerd to go, how much does actual rifling and stabilize a bullet, how much difference does it make? And then you kind of have like you can look at it with this gun and go, well, this is one answer for you.
It is.
It definitely makes a difference, but maybe not as much as you would think, perhaps.
Well, there's an interesting video out there that we came from another creator in the firearm space, and they did a side-by-side test with another manufacturer's firearm and ours, and believe it or not, the Reformation outperformed accuracy at 100 yards than another manufacturer's firearm out there. Which was rifles.
There's a lot of variety and quality out there, for sure. Hey, we'll be right back after this quick message. Silencer Central is America's largest silencer dealer, and they make it easy. They send you all the paperwork, a fingerprint kit, and when you send it back to them, they work with the ATF. Once it's approved, they send it directly to your door. New for 2022, the Banish 46 and the Banish 338. The Banish 46 is a big old honking thing, mighty, strong. You can shoot 45-70 through it, which is really cool. And if the banished suppressor does not significantly reduce the report and recoil of your firearm, Silencer Central will buy it back. Check them out, silencercentral.com. The SDK 100 9mm is the Armscor Rock Island Armory's first striker-fired pistol. It features an aluminum frame, 1911 grip angle, extended beaver tail, and a 17-round capacity. They've updated the optics plate for universal microdots, so you can mount a lot of different things there. They've also lowered the price. It's down to $4.99 now. Check that out at armscor.com. Ruger's Light Rack LCP2 is a low recoil pistol ideal for training and concealed carry. They've really designed this to be easy to run. It includes slide serrations and a pronounced cocking ear design that helps you run the slide, or somebody who's maybe not comfortable with running a semi-auto. They're trying to make it easier for you. You can learn more at Ruger.com. So I think one of the things you guys are really well known for are your binary triggers.
Yes.
Explain the binary trigger. I still think it needs a little explanation, and I think also the maybe misconceptions about it.
Yeah, I think one of the misconceptions, let's start with that. I mean, everybody thinks that Franklin Armory is like thumbing their nose at the ATF, right? That's like, oh, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you. And that's not necessarily the case. We're just, like I said earlier, we're checking those boxes, filling those gaps, and we're following the letter of the law to the T. That's what we do. Now, a binary trigger, what it does primarily is provide the user options. I like options. I mean, it's got, say, semi, binary, and it's not full auto. It's two separate functions of the trigger.
And binary, just in case you don't know, I mean, it you pull the trigger, it goes bang. You release the trigger, it goes bang.
Precisely.
And the first thing people go, I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and he goes, man, I don't know, that seems unsafe. I said, well, you guys do have, you can have the option to not shoot that second shot.
Oh, absolutely. You can actually cancel that second shot. So if you're in binary and you pull that first shot and say the range master says cold range, right? And you have your finger back on that trigger. Well, all you have to do is keep your finger on that trigger, keep it pointed in a safe direction, and flip that safety selector from binary to semi or safe, and then keep it pointed in a safe direction, let your finger off the trigger, and it's not going to go bang.
Yeah.
So that's another added benefit of the binary triggers, that you can cancel that second shot. You don't even have to use it in binary. It's got a perfectly fine semi-auto mode too. It's options.
Where did the idea come from for you guys to do this?
You know, I have no idea, but it's brilliant, really. I want to say that there was a shotgun out there, a release trigger shotgun out there for trap.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. So there are release triggers.
There are.
And the reason that they started doing this for trap shooters will shoot thousands and tens of thousands of rounds. And one of the really easy things to do when you shoot that much is develop a flinch. And so a release trigger helps with controlling that flinch. And that's, so yeah, I mean, you're right. There had been some of those ideas and technology in existence before. Yeah,
some similar technologies. And I believe that the binary trigger was predicated off of like one of those concepts is, all right, we don't want a burst. We don't want a full auto. We don't want something that's going to be necessarily rate increasing, right? What if we have two separate functions of the trigger as the letter of the law dictates? So you pull the trigger, it fires, and now you have that release trigger function as well on the back end of it, right? So when you release the trigger, it fires. And I wish I truly knew the inspiration for the binary trigger, but it's absolutely brilliant in my opinion. But I'm biased, of course.
So what platforms, what guns do you guys have binaries for?
Oh man, a lot. AR was the first. That was the OG, if you will. And we've been through several iterations. We're on Gen 3 now of the binary trigger. And that's just updated technology that or added functions or design changes. So we're on Generation 3 right now. And we got AR. We have both a curved and a straight trigger. So if you're a competition trigger shooter, you want that flat face trigger, go for it. We got that covered. Then your standard mil spec design curved. Then we have CZ, HK, AK, ACR. Now we got the Glock. We've got 22.
1022.
1022.
Yep.
We've got,
which is really, really fun to do.
PC Carbine, the bigger brother, right?
Yeah.
We got that. And we're always coming up with more too.
And people, we got into a conversation about this the other day with people like, but why do you need this? Why do you need that? I'm like,
why not?
Time out. We are not going to do, and it's funny how gun folks will do this of like, well, I don't understand why you would need or want this or whatever. I'm like, none of that has anything to do with anything. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you think pink guns are stupid, you shouldn't disallow pink guns.
Let me ask you a question here.
Yeah.
Do you like Ferraris?
Yeah, I've never driven one, but they're cool.
Right. Okay. So, right. Does he have a need for all those things?
Look, I'm gonna ruin everything that Gun Talk Media does right now. Okay. Here's the secret. A 308 will kill everything. But like my buddy Jay Guthrie used to say, he's like, look, everybody talks about 30-06, 30-06, 30-06. And, you know, I've killed everything in North America with 30-06. And yes, it will do that. And it's great.
Mm-hmm.
But who wants to open up their gun safe and go, look at my 30-06 bolt gun?
Absolutely nobody.
No one. We want fun stuff. We want lots of different toys.
Yeah.
And sometimes when it comes to gun stuff, it doesn't have to be awesome for hunting. It doesn't have to be awesome for being tactical. It can also just be, this is really fun on the range.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is that's another thing I want to kind of dispel too, is like these do have a practical advantage as well. I mean, we do have police departments actually running our Pioneer triggers as duty guns.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of surprising.
Yeah. It's surprising, you know, you think that they'd be going for the, you know, SBR full autos, just like, you know, every SWAT team has, you know, something similar than that. But come to find out that they're seeing some different usefulness within the binary triggers, probably because it's more controllable. And also you have to be very consciously aware. You're accountable for every round that goes down range, especially in a law enforcement context, right? Or even in a self-defense context. So when you're consciously making the effort to release that trigger or pull that trigger, now you're being a little bit more accountable for every round you're putting down range.
When we come back, I want to ask Brandon, how fast can we shoot a binary trigger?
Ooh.
ATN, the future of optics, thermal, night vision, and digital night vision, which lets you have a day and night scope all in one. Has a lot of cool features, and this is really not just your granddaddy's rifle scope. This is an electronic amazement thing on the top of your gun that lets you do a lot more. It gives you the edge to perform better, whether you're in the field or on the range. Find your optic now, along with monthly promos and deals at atncorp.com. Springfield Armory, the new Hellcat Pro, combines performance, concealability, and capacity into one. This 9mm 15+1 capacity compact pistol carries more in a smaller footprint than any other gun in its class. It's optics ready and equipped with an accessory rail and hammer forged barrel. You can see more about the new Hellcat Pro at springfield-armory.com. So people go, okay, binary triggers. How fast can you shoot a binary trigger?
That's an interesting question, because the way a binary trigger works, it'll match the cyclic rate of your firearm. So it's not a rate increasing item. It's not a rate increasing device.
Right. It
will just run however fast your max cyclic rate of your firearm is.
So depending on, and we're really, when we're talking about is semi-auto guns.
Yes.
I mean, this is for semi-autos. How fast the gun will run and how fast that you can run the trigger. That's a factor.
Which there is a training element into that. Once you get used to it, then you can really, really expand the capabilities of your trigger.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and there are times, I mean, I've worked with a bunch of different shooters over the years, and some of those really serious speed shooters, a Max Michel,
Jerry,
Casey, Jerry, they can outrun a gun. that's possible for them to outrun a gun that's not, I mean, they're not going to outrun their gun because it's tuned up for them. And
it's tuned to them.
But their trigger finger can outrun the gun, and they're waiting for the gun to catch up to get back on target.
100%.
Which is amazing. It's amazing.
That's an incredible amount of athleticism, in my opinion. I think that's outrageous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. And what was the other one that you mentioned before Reformation?
Providence.
Providence. Let's talk about that one.
So Providence is a digital action, and this is the dad joke of the century, in my opinion. But instead of a binary trigger, you have the digital, and it's not like electronic or anything. By digital, it's your digit is operating the entire action of that firearm.
What?
Dad jokes for days.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, like I said, these guys think outside the box on things. So this is not in existence yet.
It's in existence. It's just not ready to consumer market yet.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll get into that on the next podcast a little bit more. What about install on these?
On binaries?
Yeah, on binaries. How involved is it? How hard is it? Easy is it?
I think it depends on the model, right? So I believe that the hardest one to install is probably the 22C1 binary trigger.
Yeah.
Only reason why is because there's some very small parts. It's kind of one of those situations too, especially with the safety detent. If you don't have here's a life hack for all you guys listening. If you put a gallon Ziploc baggie over the top of your trigger pack when you're installing that safety detent, well, if your punch slips off that safety detent, and now your detent spring is not going to go flying across the room.
When the punch slips for the 5th time.
So there's a free life hack via Franklin Armory.
But you guys should send a Ziploc bag with all of the kits and be like, what's this for? Is that to hold parts? Well,
that's so you don't lose them.
Yeah, this is a part of the pro tip here. I like that.
Because that thing, if your punch slips off that safety detent when you're installing the safety selector, that detent will go into orbit if you're not careful.
What do you guys hear from customers? I mean, who's buying these binaries and how are they using them?
Honestly, you
got to get feedback from people.
Yeah, we get tons of feedback, and I think that the primary demographic who's buying these is probably millennials. Yeah, believe it or not. And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh God, millennials," but yeah, we're buying houses and filling our saves.
Right. Yes, and they may not want the bolt gun 30-06 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's a Franklin Armory is one of those younger, fresher, outside the box thinking companies. They're very thought forward, and I mean it's geared for everybody. We do have just about everybody buying these binary triggers, and they go into a wide variety of platforms out there, commonly available platforms, right? And not only are they functional and capability expanding, because you have that third position on your safety selector there going into binary, but also they're fun. They're just fun.
Yeah. I mean, and ultimately we have to remember that shooting and guns is all about having fun, whatever your thing is, whether it's trap shooting, cowboy action,
kicking doors
in, shooting long range, but it's gotta be fun. And we sometimes get serious about it, but that's how we keep this thing going and keep people being interested in it and invite new people and younger people into this. It has to be fun. So I like to see fun new products out there. The only thing is, if you get a binary trigger, I guess you're going to have to get into reloading, because you can burn through some ammo.
You can, if you want to, though. That's the options thing, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can turn it into a bullet hose and it'll match the cyclic rate of your firearm. But if you don't want to, well, you can go slow if you want to.
Yeah.
You don't even have to use it in binary. You can use it in semi if you wanted to.
It's probably like, you do full auto, and if you have a full auto gun, this is not full auto, but you burn through a mag and you go, "Ooh, I want to do another one." You burn through a mag, and then somebody goes, like, we're getting into $50 every time you pull the trigger kind of thing. And you're like, "Oh, All right, I'll slow down.
It's like the cash register sound slamming shut, you know, every time you pull the trigger, like ching,
Yeah.
ching.
Yeah.
Especially, what was that? Well, about a year ago when ammo was just through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But like I said, you don't have to use it as a bullet hose if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Thanks for being with us, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. So if you want to find out more about Franklin Armory and what they're doing and their triggers and really creative stuff, franklinarmory.com.
Hey, firm.
All right. We'll see you next time on Gun Talk Nation.